Hey y'all. I know this is probably a bit of a weird angle, but unfortunately with Twitter being such a short-worded format, I can't really respond to some of y'all's videos that I really want to respond to. Let me say, I listen every day to the Colts Audio Network podcasts. I listen to Stampede Blue with Zach and Mr. Boyd, and I listen to Locked On, and I listen to Bring the Juice. In fact, I listened to all three of you this morning. I was a little behind the eight ball yesterday. I had a bunch of stuff to do, but anyway, finished today with Derek yelling in my ear for 30 minutes. Let me say, I agree with all of y'all's frustration. I do. 100% agree with y'all's frustration. There are a couple takes that you guys have, though, that I don't agree with. And I'd like to go into those real quick and see what y'all think, and maybe you hear me out. We'll see. One of the takes that I don't get by, Locked On and Bring the Juice right now, that you guys are screaming about Ballard. Okay. First and foremost, I hear you, Derek. Everybody's looking at the Rams like, well, they fucking bought a team. Excuse my French, but they bought a team. Why can't we? Well, the Rams are utilizing something called cash over cap, and that's all on the owner. That's not the GM. That's the owner willing to pony up the extra money for, bonuses and stuff outside of the cap so that he can pay those top end players. Our owner, or that and guaranteed cash that he can put into, what do they call that? A trust or whatever. God, my brain. I'm sorry, I'm driving. But anyway, they use that. So Ballard is working within the confines of his office. And speaking to y'all's frustration, he's done a fantastic job. We've got a team that on paper should be probably top 5, maybe top 10. I mean, should be. We've got a team that should be considered a powerhouse. And that's because of Ballard. So if it wasn't that way, we'd have no room to be frustrated. We wouldn't be expecting the record that we were expecting. But we do, and we did. That speaks to Ballard's ability. As far as Frank Reich's play calling, it's 100% predictable. He has not adjusted to our weaknesses, to get around our weaknesses, I should say. And that brings me to what our real problem is. Our real problem is not receivers. It's not quarterback. It's just not. And I'll tell you why. Our real problem is offensive line. That's it. Everything is stemming from that. I hear you. Matt Ryan shouldn't have a season where it's looking like he's going to break the fumble record. And it's laughable, but he shouldn't be. Now, should he have better ball security skills? Yeah, he probably should. Not probably. He should. That said, if the offensive line was holding up, this wouldn't even be an issue. This wouldn't be something we were talking about. This wouldn't be a thing. If the offensive line was giving him the time, we've seen what happens. He gets 356 yards, spreads the ball around to 9 or 10 different receivers, and gets 2 tutties. That's what happens when he has time. When he doesn't have time, people come screaming through the porous offensive line and smoke him. And he's old, man. He's old. That just is what it is. He's younger than I am. But I'm going to tell you what, if I get hit by a 300-pound dude, I'm dropping the ball too. Okay? I mean, that is what it is. You start hurting real bad, especially after 35. And this dude has been in a game that gives him the equivalent of car crashes on a weekly basis for, 15 years? Matt Ryan's not the problem. The problem is the O-line. Also, the fact that we are now fighting one-handed because, again, the offensive line isn't getting push up front and creating gaps for JT to be effective. If the offensive line was doing its job, JT would have the stats because we know what kind of a player he is. But he's an explosive second-level guy. He's got to get through that line. And if the line isn't letting him get through, if they're getting pushed backwards so that JT runs into our own linemen, like, happened the other day, this is what we get, a 40-yard game. That's it. And I get it. I get that you guys wish that Ballard would go out on a shopping spree. I get it. I would love to see some gigantic name players come in. But you know what? He's kind of done that. We've got Buckner. We've got Ngakoue. We've got Stephon freaking Gilmore. As far as the defense is concerned, they're playing as good as any defense could, really, in this league. This league is designed for offense. It's designed to get some points on the board. They're playing as good as they could. And if they weren't handed a short field consistently by our offense, our own offense, I mean, just use this last game as an example. If they weren't given a short field on two of those touchdowns probably wouldn't have happened because they figured it out pretty quickly. You've seen what happened when they came out in the second half. Derrick Henry had gashed them. They adjusted, and Derrick Henry wasn't anything in the second half. He just wasn't. He was not even a factor anymore. Tannehill never really is a factor, except for his bootlegs, which that is one of our weaknesses on defense. Bootlegs get us. We somehow nipped it in the bud pretty good for Patrick Mahomes, which is amazing. But Tannehill got us on it a couple of times this week. We've got to figure out how to shore up the bootleg game. But other than that, our defense is pretty freaking good. I'm happy with it. I'm happy with the fact that they can come in and they can get mollywopped and then they can adjust. Frank, on the other hand, on the offensive side, has not been doing that. Sitting there and not getting any push up front, he's not changing the game plan whatsoever. And he's just keep at it. Keep at it. We'll keep going with what we think will work. And some of it does. I mean, we were able to get some momentum in the second half. But because of the failures to adjust earlier in the game, it was just too much, too far out of reach. So basically, why I'm coming to you guys with my response is this: you guys are in a way, not just of a spotlight on the team, you're a spotlight that can be directed by the fans too, because this organization is really good at ignoring the fans when they want to. When it's just too loud, they can turn it off pretty good. But I think that if all of the news coverage and all the podcasts, the content creators, if y'all really focused on the one issue that can be fixed in this scheme, that can be fixed, whether it's a change up and getting rid of Strasser and getting somebody, get somebody back in, or maybe calling up AQ Shipley and see if he wants to come coach for the rest of the season. You've seen what he did with Tampa Bay when he was coaching. He can break down line pretty dang good. I don't know who you want to call, but if you want to change that up, that could be something that can be done in-house. We do have some good pieces that just need to be taught right on how to communicate and how to execute. It just needs to be done, especially if you want to develop Raymond. That's it. That's really it. If we can get the push to fix that one problem, you will see a complete 180 turnaround of this team. A 180. All positions, all players are going to make mistakes. It's going to happen. But the one position group that consistently is making mistakes almost every down, it seems, or every time we're making a drive, that's the offensive line. That's it. They're not getting any push in the run game. And that has to change if we want to win ball games. They're not getting Matt Ryan the protection he needs. That has to change if we want to win ball games. So what I'm asking you guys in my response, and if you know, tell me your thoughts. I don't care. I don't care. I'd love to hear them. But I honestly believe, after watching the games and then going back and torturing myself with all 22, it's the offensive line not creating the push that they need to create or the gaps that they need to create. Yeah, we do have some tight end blocking issues, and that can be expected with a couple of rookie. I mean, Granson's not really a rookie, but this is really the first time he's getting significant playing time. Mo Alley is he's not Jack Doyle. He's not. But he's tall as hell, and he's big. He can get up there. Granson has become a very pleasant surprise, but we've got to get them coached up on how to block, how to scheme right, get the right leverage. As far as defense, back on that side, we should. You guys are right. Rodgers should be in there all the time, with Faison being maybe a rotational rest piece. Nick Cross should probably be rotated in there to give McLeod some rest time. That should be done. Rodgers definitely needs to be in the game a majority of the time. He is playing his ass off. But the blocking schemes up front has to change, or we're not going to win football games. And I need the media, as a fan, to really spotlight that one thing. And I mean, just hammer it over and over and over. The other issues, I'm telling you, they will sort themselves out. If that one issue is fixed, we could honestly be a contender if that one issue would get fixed. It's the truth. That's the one issue. Fix that, the other mistakes won't matter. Every team makes mistakes, and we're pretty good at capitalizing on the other team's mistakes if we fix the offensive line. Thanks for hearing me out, guys. I love your stuff. I listen every day. Keep it up. But yeah, let's please, just that one thing. I am not willing to accept tanking for the rest of the season and watching this team just get blown out of the water in order to draft a guy. That's not worth it to me. I think this team has the pieces to contend right now, and then we could use one more draft to really shore up that offensive line, to get the pieces we really need for the long term on that, and maybe another freaking lights out receiver. That would be awesome. I just need to see the blocking happen. We'll win games if that happens. We can run them down. Thank you, guys. Y'all have a great day. Just my 2 cents for whatever it's worth.